Hi everyone, welcome to this short video devotional. This is the first of a number that we're going to be doing over the next couple of months. Different people, a couple of times a week, are going to upload little short video devotionals just to help us connect with God and to pray, but also to do it in a way that we can feel like we're kind of doing it together a little bit, because different people from this community are going to be led by the same resources as you are. So when you're ready to participate in this time, really I think the important thing is, first of all, to guard the space around you a little bit. Maybe it's cutting out 15-20 minutes just to be on your own in your house. Maybe it's using your Boris daily exercise to be outside and go and listen to this somewhere. But wherever it is, it needs to be a context where you can still yourself a little bit, where you can relax yourself a little bit and participate. So with that in mind, let's begin. So today we're going to be led by one of the really famous stories from the Gospels, and it's the story of Jesus on a lake with his disciples when a storm comes up. I've picked this story for a couple of reasons to lead us today. The first one is that obviously the situation that all of us are in at the moment is completely weird, completely new, and for a lot of us not a little bit scary for a number of different reasons. I don't know how this time is affecting you individually, but it's affecting all of us in very different ways, and so there's kind of recognition that we're kind of in a bit of a storm at the moment, or maybe a big storm at the moment. But the other reason is that there's kind of another storm to engage with, and that is that inside my heart, in my life, I wouldn't describe the kind of the waters of my inner soul as being completely still and completely calm. That in fact, when things outside get crazy, things inside tend to also get a bit more intense. Maybe I get a bit more anxious, a bit more stressed. I've definitely noticed that with myself over the last couple of weeks, and maybe that's something that's true for you. And so in this story, we're going to look to meet with the Jesus who is in the boat with his disciples in the storm, and who brings his calm and his peace into the storm of their situation and the storm of their spirit. So I'm going to read this passage a few times, and there'll be a fair amount of gap between each reading. This first reading, all that I'm asking you to do is to immerse yourself in the story. Don't try and see too many images or read into it too much. Just be in the story. Be one of the disciples in the boat with Jesus. As evening came, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let's cross to the other side of the lake." So they took Jesus in the boat and started out, leaving the crowds behind, although other boats followed. But soon a fierce storm came up. High waves were breaking into the boat, and it began to fill with water. Jesus was sleeping at the back of the boat, with his head on a cushion. The disciples woke him up, shouting, "Teacher, don't you care that we're going to drown?" As I read the passage again, you may wish to picture any external circumstances that you're currently facing that seem like a really big challenge. You may wish to picture them as the storm. As evening came, Jesus said to his disciples, Let's cross to the other side of the lake." So they took Jesus in the boat and started out, leaving the crowds behind, although other boats followed. But soon a fierce storm came up. High waves were breaking into the boat, and it began to fill with water. Jesus was sleeping at the back of the boat with his head on a cushion. The disciples woke him up, shouting, "Teacher, don't you care that we're going to drown?" Just before we read it one more time, I want to ask you to be particularly alert to what you're feeling right now. Maybe there's anxiety there, or maybe not. Maybe you're feeling particularly lonely at the moment, or particularly hurried at the moment, or particularly okay at the moment. However you're feeling is completely fine. But in this moment, in this reading, we're going to invite Jesus to be calming the storm inside of us. And so this time I'm going to read the passage the whole way through. As evening came, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let's cross to the other side of the lake." So they took Jesus in the boat and started out, leaving the crowds behind, although other boats followed. But soon a fierce storm came up. High waves were breaking into the boat, and it began to fill with water. Jesus was sleeping at the back of the boat with his head on a cushion. The disciples woke him up, shouting, "Teacher, don't you care that we're going to drown?" When Jesus woke up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Silence, be still." Suddenly the wind stopped, and there was a great calm. Then he asked them, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" So in this moment, as we acknowledge the storm, both the storm external to us and the one inside of us, we also get to acknowledge the one who is in the boat but at peace. Who's not panicked by it or surprised by it. But instead can speak his peace to it. When Jesus woke up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Silence, be still." Suddenly the wind stopped, and there was a great calm. Suddenly the wind stopped, and there was a great calm.